God, Hambo, Justin McElroy makes it so easy to... It makes it look so easy to eat while doing a podcast. This is difficult. My dad walked in right before we did the sync. Gave me my dinner. I'm struggling. I've barely eaten, Hambo. Usually this would be gone, but this is difficult. I may have to leave this till after the episode.
Well, Wookie, why don't I give you a few minutes to eat whilst I play the theme song?
Quickly, nom 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 nom.
I really put my hand up to the camera this week.
I noticed. I was watching.
I know, you can see it. Whoa.
Whoa.
We should do this as a video podcast at some point, because we do a lot of stuff to camera.
We should do. I've been watching recently a podcast produced by. I'm wondering like what. I suppose it's Minecraft streamers, but it's a YouTube video and a podcast. They're separate edits, Hambo. There's two different versions of the podcast.
What?
There were like actively bits of it that were cut out because they relied on the video. And I was like, that's so stressful. If we, because like plausibly we would have to do that if we wanted to release video of these episodes. And it would be so stressful.
I say we take the approach of, if you're listening to the audio podcast and there's something which is a video only joke, we then go, if you want to understand it, check out the YouTube video, and then that's 2 views, baby. That's 2 whole...
That's twice the ad revenue.
Yeah, which is still twice of nothing. So if you want it, but if you want it to be twice of something, then maybe you should get sharing this podcast with people that you like or dislike.
Sponsor us, maybe.
Just send it out. Or sponsor us, you know?
If you're listening to this and you're like the owner of a small business, sponsor us, please.
Mm.
Please.
Yeah. And we're not in the position to sort of say no to people. So, you know,
if you want to make some sort of really unscrupulous offer to us that, you know, no union would recommend we take this, but we're not unionized. We will just accept any offer, right? We're easy, is what I'm saying.
We're very desperate. We will take
anything.
We will take anything. You know, even if you don't want to send us money, you just want to send us like a meal, a dinner, or like a lunch, because a lunch isn't a whole meal.
I'd take one lunch. Can we get a sponsorship? And can the company put in the ad read that their product is good? Right? Is that something that they could do, or would we have to send that back?
I think I think they can do that, but they have to pay us extra because that is our trademark.
They have to pay us royalties for using our words.
Yeah, it turns out we own good and bad.
Yeah. Who was it who tried to do that once?
I don't know.
Was it Taylor Swift? She tried to Taylor Swift tried to trademark the phrase "that sick beat," this sick beat.
No way.
Whatever the thing from Shake It Off was, she tried to trademark this.
Taylor Swift trademark. Taylor Swift's list of ridiculous trademarks grows ahead of Reputation album release. This is from The Telegraph. What are they saying?
Oh, not The Telegraph. I don't know. I say that. Who knows? Who knows what The Telegraph think? Well, I guess we're about to find out what The Telegraph think.
She's updated the list of trademarks, not the one mentioned in Look What You Made Me Do, which she checks once again and then twice, to include the old Taylor Can't Come to the Phone Right Now from her single Look What You Made Me Do, as well as the song's title itself, according to TMZ.
Okay. So, Hambo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's the bit you wanted, Woogie.
Okay.
Swift famously trademarked phrases including party like it's 1989. Okay, so if for the two of us, that would be just like cease to exist.
Yep.
And the much maligned the sick beat.
Just two like temporally unhinged souls just like dancing to whatever sort of music was popular in 1989.
I mean, Wookie, if you've not seen my dancing, I have once been described as a temporarily unhinged soul. At Pop.
We're dancing to Love Shack by the B-52s, I guess.
That was on an episode of That was on an episode of what Izzy was watching last night. What's the thing with the people that Drag Race.
What's the thing with the people? the content with the creators.
It's on the television.
The show with the cast,
Yeah.
I viewed it on a screen.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of a little show we like to do here at the weekends, or as you call it, Thursday. It's, of course, Boy Review, hosted by me, Hamish.
And me, Wilkie. Or the Cookie Monster, I don't know. I should have done a Cookie Monster bit.
Yeah, Wilkie's currently gobbling up some food. So,
Hambo.
Wilkie, what are you trying to eat?
Have you ever had Bulgar wheat, Hambo? Bulgar wheat? It's like a sort of rice-style thing.
No, I haven't. I've had vulgar wheat before. It started cussing at me.
It was horrible. It was so mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Bulgar wheat, got some aubergine, and then like a salad with it's sort of like an Italian salad because we got like some spinach and some roasted peppers and olives. It's quite nice.
Okay, but it's like some of that. So I guess the Bulgar wheat has to be cooked at some point.
It does. It's really interesting. Basically, what you do is you get Pyrex measuring jug, and we fill it with so you can use it to measure it, right? And then you pour in like hot water, and you just leave it, and eventually there will be no more hot water, and the Bulgar wheat will be perfectly cooked because it's a lot lighter than rice, so you don't have to cook it for like half an hour.
See, Wilkie, yeah, you've described a pretty normal way to cook something. You have all the components that you need and heat, right?
Mm-hmm.
In some form, whether that be through water or whatever. Izzy came up with an entirely fun way to cook something the other day. Specifically, this was toasting bread in the toaster. And her plan was to toast the bread by turning on the toaster.
Okay.
But there was no bread in it. And I asked her, and she was just like, I did the toaster and it started smoking. And I was like, well, why is the toaster smoking? It's like, well, because it's got lots of crumbs at the bottom of it. And I said, okay, well, normally, and was the toast smoking? So I was like, no, that I hadn't got to the bread bit yet.
So you let the toaster preheat? We're preheating our toasters?
Yeah, Izzy is preheating the toaster, which, it's a cold house here where I'm at. But I want to understand, at what point, Wilkie, is it appropriate to add the bread to the toaster, if not at the point where you turn it on? Before you turn it on? Am I crazy?
Because if you don't put anything in it, it's gonna damage itself, right? The heat needs to go somewhere. If it's just heating itself up, like the bread is there to protect, primarily, here's the thing, they invented toasters without, thinking of the bread, right? And then, but the problem was, if you left the toaster on too long, it would overheat. So well, what can we do? Well, we need something to soak up the heat. So they put bread in between the bits of the toaster that got hot so that they didn't heat each other up, right? Because they're getting hot enough on their own. So you put bread in there, and they're like, the bread has become hot and crunchy. So it was an accident.
Who invented toast?
Do you think it's the same as the person who invented the toaster? Or do you think someone thought of heating up bread differently?
Yeah, because toast is just someone made bread and went a little bit too far, and they thought, aha, I've not fucked up here. I have actually created a whole new thing. Because for a short while there, they thought they messed up.
They accidentally did it twice.
They did the bread and they thought, and then they cooked it too much more. Because that's another question. Okay, so bread, you cook bread, and then you might have overcooked bread. That's not toast.
No.
Toast is specifically, you've cooked the bread, you've left it for a bit, and then you've cooked it a second time later on.
Yeah, you've sliced it up. I don't think you can just put an entire loaf of bread in the oven and call it toast, right?
No.
Because what you've got to do, when you bake the bread, you end up with the crust and then the inside, the meat, as it were, the meat of the bread. And toast is when you've exposed bread meat and then cooked the bread meat. Because it's still fully cooked, so there's no more cooking to do. So it ends up turning into crust, I think.
Yeah. So, Wilkie, are there any other foods where you make something? So, could you make a steak? You cook the steak meat, it's done cooking, and then you cut it open, and then you cook it again, and it gets something else. Or is there?
I mean, there's certain methods where you would take something and you would cook it to a healthy temperature, so like the temperature that kills bacteria, you'd cook that like sous vide. So I've seen people do chicken like this. Like you cook chicken sous vide to like make it safe to eat. Then you would cut it up and then sear it. So I suppose like that sort of like the what's it called? The reverse sear, I think, is where you cook a steak in the oven and then you put it in a pan to sear it.
Just sort of like reverse sear rather than sort of like hanging from the chandelier, just drop it on somebody.
Yeah. So instead of you going to the chandelier comes to you and you die. My dad's back, everyone.
Oh,
I've not even finished my first course and I've still I'm recording a podcast. You got
Well, Wilkie, I think you're on timeout now. You've got to not talk for the next bit. It's Hambo's show now.
I've been timed out. This isn't fair. I'm being bullied.
So toasters are, I think, a really cool thing, and I really like toasters.
You could say anything right now, Hamish. I'm not allowed to respond, apparently.
Izzy might have a weird way a way of sort of dealing with toasters, but I don't think that she sort of ruined toasters anyway. Though I have some weird toaster history, you know. I've currently started a new job, and during the interview for this job, one of the stages was asking me about, you know, how would I approach reviewing something, and you know, we want to go into a new product. How would you go about becoming an expert in toasters? And there was that brief moment of panic, but I know nothing about toasters. And then suddenly, just sort of all the gears clicked into place.
And you turned into a car.
Like in Boy Car. And they went, hired.
Yeah, that's really cool. You can turn into an articulated lorry. That's brilliant. We want that sort of go get 'em attitude on our team. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Hamish Prime. There's a little you know, just like let that sort of toast for a second in the toaster. You gotta
toast your jokes. So you gotta make the joke and then break it up into its constituent bits, and then make new jokes about each of those bits.
Exactly. Where were we? This is the problem with the show. We go on a bit and I get lost and I don't know what I'm saying anymore. My brain can only go so many layers deep. It's like Inception. Once we've gone like 4 layers deep.
Wanted you to become an expert in toasters, and you were like, oh, what am I going to do? And then you suddenly realised how it was going to work.
I realised I quite like toasters, you know? Now, are they weird? Yes. In least in terms of the dial. What does the dial mean on the front of a toaster? Okay, 5. Let's say it goes from 1 to 5. 1 means it's not going to toast at all. It's you've just made warm bread. 5 means you're going to make charcoal.
Yeah.
But the numbers in between, I don't know. What is that time? Is that heat? Is that...
I have no idea, to be honest. It's because it's not minutes. It's never been minutes.
Exactly.
As far as I can tell, there's only 2 acceptable positions on a toaster, and that's 2 and 3. Because 4 is going to be too burnt, right? If you want your bread done on number 4, like that's weird, right?
You're doing 4 is you're one of those people that wants to watch the toaster and then push the button yourself. So you want it to be quick. You for some reason have worked out how long you want to do it on 4/4. You let it go and then you push the button and it pops out.
So do you think, because there clearly is an element of time to it, right? Because you turn it to 2 and then it... Well, no, does it? Because you turn it to 2 and then it ticks down back to 0, doesn't it?
No, you turn it to 2 and then it leaves at 2. It just stays at 2.
Okay.
At least on my toaster. On your toaster, it might work differently.
My toaster, I think... My toaster is time, I think.
Okay, on my toaster, it's just I set it to 2, I hit the...
yours
the thing
is
down.
A plunger. Okay. I see how it is.
A plunger?
I understand.
You mean the thing where it drops down? Is that called a plunger?
I don't know what it's called.
I was going to say, because I don't think I should put my toaster in the toilet when I need to unblock it.
Oh, well, it might work.
It might make more problems.
Different,
sort of electrified poop.
Problems. New, exciting problems.
Well, don't. I'm not even going to make a joke about this. Don't put your toilet in the toaster. Toaster in the toilet. Don't do either of those things. There's so many T words, Wilkie.
Don't
combine them.
the toilet in a toaster.
No, absolutely don't do that. Because if you do, all you'll end up with is some little hot shit.
You might think you're hot shit, but you're not.
No, you are infinitely times better than hot shit. Because hot shit, just extra stinky.
Hot shit is just worse than regular shit.
It's because when you heat up the shit, all the smells, you make the smell gas
Yeah, the
faster
smell
with
gas.
the heat.
It goes faster.
Yeah, and so it moves around better and it will get into your nose more quickly.
It will.
That's how science works. Because it's got more kinetic energy because you've heated it up. So you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure your poo is really cold. So that's why I now shit in a freezer.
That's why I put ice cubes up my ass.
No, that's for a different reason, Wilkie.
That's unrelated. That's unrelated. We don't have to talk about
that. we don't mention that on this show.
That's a secret. We don't tell the listeners about that. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm waiting to see how long it can go until someone mentions, "Hey Hamish, why are you putting ice cubes up your ass?" So far, it's taking a very long time because I don't really see anybody. Yeah. But eventually, you know, I'll do it at work one day, and they'll be like, "Whoa, Hamish, what is this?" And
you'll be like, "Oh, finally, I can stop." Go.
It was a social experiment.
It's a YouTube video. Look, there's a camera over there, and you point at the toilet and you run away. There's a camera in there. Wait, no, come back! And you're out. You're out the door. You're gone.
And so I want to give toasters a bad good because on the one hand I like toast. On the other hand, I don't really know how toasters work, and I think we've established that no one really knows how toasters work. Least of which is Izzy, who tries to toast air, but with the end goal being to toast bread.
Very strange. Now, Hambo, as the listeners have probably realised by now, we're the show has evolved. Last week, the show evolved. We became a girder in terms of Pokemon. If that makes no sense to you, go listen to last week's episode. If this is your first time listening to the show, check out what the show used to be like. We're doing our more free.
If that makes no sense to you, play Pokemon Black or White, because that's the region where Timber and Gerda are first introduced.
That's also true. I can only assume that's true. But we've got, now that I think because we had a realization somewhere at one point that primetime wasn't helping and it was just really irritating. And I'm going to be honest, that one's on me. So that's good. And then we had another sort of we had another sort
I thought you were going to now introduce Optimus Prime Time, which is like the new one. I'm bringing it back.
I'm bringing it back. It's been gone for too long. 26. It's not even a prime number. But we had our 26 breaks apart into bits and then turns into a prime number. Just mathematically speaking.
It's the multiple of two prime numbers.
Is it? I keep trying to make this point, but
2
you
and
keep
13.
saying interesting things. It's what? I didn't know that was possible.
26 would be 2 times 13.
Okay, that's fine then, because 13 is still a prime number.
Yeah, so Optimus primes into a prime number because it's 2 and 13. And so it's separated out into 2 prime numbers.
Is 2 a prime number?
Yes. What is 2 divisible by, other than 1 and itself?
I was going to say 2 there, but that's no. That is itself.
Yeah, 2 is the only even prime number.
Oh, that makes sense. But yes, we've had this other. We've now had our second evolution. If someone can find us some sort
now
of
concorder.
Yeah, if someone can find us an elemental stone, we might evolve into a cool different variant of Boy Review, with different elemental powers. But now that we've landed on what this show was truly meant to be from the start, I think we need to start making up some ground, Hambo. We need to start catching up, because there's other content out there that we are sort of emulating that is way ahead of us, right? We've said in the past that we're sort of our own personal styles of comedy sort of align with the McElroy brothers. So we're definitely a few hundred episodes behind on them. I've been watching recently a lot of Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link.
Okay.
I've been
Yeah,
thinking that
I've heard of them.
Rhett and Link have big us energy, I think.
Yeah, they have us energy. Okay, I have a question though. Why is Link doing a podcast if he's got a princess to go and save?
He's Toon Link. So he's
okay.
so he's actually like permanently defeated Ganon, so he's all good now. He's just chilling, making a podcast.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I think, is it Toon Link?
Yeah, well, I can't remember because the last Toon Link game was Spirit Track, so I guess Toon Link has enough time to be building trains. So, and you don't really build trains if you've got an evil overlord to kill.
Yeah.
So he gets to build boats and trains. So maybe he'll build a plane next. So maybe until he builds a plane, he's all good. So that's why he's avoided that.
Yeah. Yeah, if he tries to build a plane, then Ganon will be like, hey, that's not cool. I don't know. Is that what Ganon sounds like? Hey. I'll say, hey, that's not cool. Stop that.
No, you had it right the first time. He's like, hey, that's not cool.
Hey, that's what the
I actually talk like this.
Ganon's the little floaty blue thing, right?
Navi. Not
Ganon.
to be confused with the Navi from Avatar.
Yeah. And Ganon's like, hey, listen, I'm going to kill you. And then Link's like, you're tiny and blue. And then like kills him. Swat. With
Fly swatter.
The master fly swatter. It's...
Okay, Wilkie, what were you saying? Sorry, I keep interrupting your bit. I don't even know what you're going on about yet.
Neither do I, to be honest. So
this has become Wilkie tries to finish a point.
That's all this show has ever been. I get so easily distracted. We need to make up some ground, right? As a show, we need to catch up to our competitors. So here's my plan, Hamish. We need to speed run doing like, we'll say 500 episodes of a podcast. So what I think that means is, first of all, we're gonna need some inside jokes. We're gonna need to...
Okay.
Because look, here's the thing. We don't have time to organically do 500 episodes of the show. Because guess what? After we've done, we're gonna be at what, 526, right? The McElroy brothers will have hit 1,000. Okay, we need to get there before them.
Yeah.
Or we need to catch up.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
We need to mass produce some inside jokes, including inside jokes that have been and gone, right? Inside jokes that are no longer canon. Can we make up inside jokes that don't exist and like get them rolling?
So, Wilkie, the moment you said about podcasting catchphrases, I think we need to come up with some original ones for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. But I think we need to also steal some from pre-existing TV shows, movies, podcasts, all of that, because we need to catch up.
Yeah.
So I want to start with going on the idea that, we have bad, good, repeated words. I want to go for boom, boom. I think after one of us does an absolutely good Raz, we go boom, boom, like
boom.
Basil Brush.
Like Basil Brush.
From the Basil Brush show.
Bam,
Yeah.
bam. That's good. I like that. And yeah, because here's the thing, right? Nobody can prove that after 500 episodes, like Basil Brush wasn't like a recurring bit, and then all that's left of that recurring bit is us saying boom boom, right? That's become part of the show.
Boom, boom.
But like we did an episode. So the title of this episode of Boy Review is going to be Boy Review episode 26, and the title episode 526. Because we're speed running all of that advancement, and yeah, there was some time in those 500 episodes where we did a whole Basil Brush bit, and now all we're left with is just boom 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 boom.
Wilkie, can't you remember? It wasn't just some time. It was on episode. I was going to say 900. It was on episode 196.
We did no. Sometime in those 500 episodes, we did another bit where we jumped ahead in time. That one didn't last, but but as we came back to the 500s, but yeah, episode 900 and something was this whole like Basil Brush time travel episode we did. It was really funny. Yeah. Now I was thinking,
went back to 2003.
Yeah,
he was relevant.
It was Basil Brush. Did you ever watch Bear Behaving Badly? Bear Behaving Badly was my favorite.
With Nev.
Yeah, with
I did.
Nev
I like
and with Barney Harwood. Remember Barney Harwood? He was everywhere. I had another idea. I sort of came into this with an idea that I thought would be quite funny, and perhaps we could bring Barney Harwood in on this. Right? The bit is that there used to be a third boy who would settle Because I recently ran a D&D session, right? This is adjacent, right? Where there were some hags, and hags always get together in covens of 3 so that they can agree on things, right? So that if there's a disagreement, they have a third person to settle the agreement. If there's 4 of them, they might 2 of them each on either side. They disagree, they kill each other, right? There used to be a third boy, and we always forget, right? So like at the start of the episode,
we assimilated him in the womb.
Maybe that
we absorbed him into us
in the podcast womb. Or like at the start of the show, you're like, with me, Hamish, and it's like a long pause. I'm like, oh shit, it's me, and me, Wilkie, and like because there used to be someone who'd go after you, but now it's just me, and it like the podcast is like kind of haunted.
If you go back and listen to our older episodes, like you can tell that when I was particularly early editing, it was a bit difficult for me because I was used to there being a third boy. And so like you've
had to cut them out of all the episodes they were in, because they got cancelled on Twitter. No,
yeah,
no, it's weird.
It seems really odd, but like you can do it. Yeah, and you think like, wow, Hamish and Wilkie like managed to just get around all of that problem.
Yeah,
and so, it turns out we just re-recorded pretty much every episode.
We just redistributed their lines to one of us and like the bits. Hambo, so I did drama A-level, right? I did theatre studies A-level. And part of doing theatre studies A-level is for the final exam, you have to do like a show, right? You put on a piece of theatre. And I was in a show called Punk Rock. I played a school shooter. It was quite fun. Got to hold a starting pistol. And it was really wanky, Hambo. I'm not gonna lie, it was really wanky. Like, you know those jokes about like what people who do like drama like and think they're all deep and stuff. That was really it. It was like slow motion. Everyone was like, no, and I was like, bang, and they like, and they were like dying. You know that thing that happens when you get shot. You die.
Did they do like the thing where they like blood splurt out?
Yeah, they're like
with the bag of.
Well, no, we didn't have squibs, but they were falling like, with their hands like, whoa, no. So it was really melodramatic. But
That's why I want to go out, Wilkie.
The other group did a show called Handbag. I think it was written by Anthony Horowitz. You know, the guy who did was it Alex Rider or Young James Bond?
They did someone else's show. They didn't even write their own.
No, we didn't write our own show. This was sorry. I did the explanation badly. At the very end of the thing, you had to do your own show. But at the end of the first year, you did someone else's show. So we both did a scripted show, right? And there was this guy in the other group called Louis. And Louis was in the other group because they'd drawn the short straw. This guy Louis was a bit shit. He just generally just didn't really pull his weight in group projects. And it got to it wasn't like there wasn't going to be someone there, but they were going to film it. If that makes, I think that was it. They definitely filmed something. Maybe there was an examiner there, but anyway, it got to the day of the final show. Right, this was the one that was going to count for our A level, and we're in the space, right, in the drama department, and we're my group, the 6 of us, we're getting ready. We're like running through our lines. We used to do these speed runs. Like, we keep talking about speed running. We should actually do some speed running at some point, but we would speed run the entire show. We could do it in like 10 minutes, just like no stage directions, no nothing. We just like just knowing whose line came after whose. And then suddenly there's this commotion from there was a smaller music practice room next to the main room, and we'd like swap who had to use which room, so like we got the big space to practice in while they sat in the smaller room. And there was this commotion, right, which is weird because it was meant to be soundproof, this music practice room, but we could hear them anyway. And a couple of them like just like storm out of the room and like go outside or whatever, and I'm like, what the hell's going on, what the hell?
Okay.
And someone else like comes into the main room and they look really exasperated. We're like, what's going on? And I say, Louis hasn't learned his lines. None of them. Like they all had an even part in this show. He did not know any of his lines, and I was sitting there like, oh my god, I could not imagine. Like, that was like learning the lines for it was so stressful because I always find that I never get the lines until like really close. It's like the week of the show, and I haven't quite got them down yet. And they'll come to me. They always come to me. I always get them down, but it's always really stressful. I was like, how do you get to the day of the show and not learn your lines? So
not even read them, not even have an idea of what's going on. Though I have so you finish the story, because I have a question, because like, was Louis maybe, because that sounded like very dramatic. So was Louis sort of method acting and recording that moment, and then they were going to put that as their like drama submission?
Perhaps, maybe that it was meta.
Louis had misunderstood that a drama A-level was not like you causing drama; it's you doing performances. And so Louis was just like,
I've got an A-level in drama and a GCSE in beef. I don't think that was it. So the other group, they get back together. You know, we can tell that they come back in, and they like, honestly, they just cut him out. They just like I was saying about the guy who used to be on the show with us. We just cut out all. Like they redistributed all his lines, because here's the thing: the rest of them knew the show well enough that they knew his lines, because like they've run it so often that the whole show was like in their collective consciousness, and they just knew which bits would like belong to them. So they just redistributed who was saying what, and he just wasn't in it. I have no idea what.
Did you get a good grade?
I don't know is the thing. Like, he graduated, I think. Like, he got A-levels, but like, he was so mysterious. He was in my house, right? Because we had a house system. Not like my home where I live, but like, he was in Leconfield House with me. I barely ever saw
That's what you think, Wilkie, but here tonight,
oh my god,
is Samuel.
Samuel?
Was that his name?
No, Louis. Who's Samuel? Hamish?
Samuel is the other person that was living inside your home. I'm really sorry, Sam. I thought your name was Sam. I didn't realize your name wasn't Louis.
Well, Sam,
it turns out.
Honestly, I commend Sam for staying under my bed for so long. It's a tough world down there. Anyway, I have no idea what happened to his grades. He did DT with me as well. He did design and technology with me, and barely ever saw him.
You only did the design half.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. What? He did design,
but not technology.
No, he tried to. He looked at a computer and it combusted, so they decided that he didn't have to do that half of the A level.
Yeah, it's a bit risky. But yeah, so there used to be a guy on the show called Samuel, and sometimes we accidentally reference him. But we should really should try and avoid it, because he did get very cancelled on Twitter. So
yeah, he tried to say that the
Mars landings were fake.
Yeah, he tried to Elon Musk wasn't actually the first person to land on Mars. It turns out in 500 episodes time we learned that my mate Steve.
Okay.
You know that guy down the pub that is working on that rocket that's one day going to make him
I absolutely know that guy down the pub who's working on a rocket, yeah.
All right, Steve. Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
we get
sure
it.
thing,
You're going to get a Mars.
Yeah, go on, Steve. It's
your
round then. Why don't you go get a round from Mars?
And then he went, and one day he had enough of all of that, and he just went, all right, and he just took off. He was the rocket the whole time. He transformed into one.
Yeah. He became Steve Prime.
And he went off to Mars, and he terraformed it. Mars is now Earth 2, basically. It's beautiful. Lots of water, lots of greenery.
It's beautiful.
And
Samuel said that never happened. And again, look, we have to stop mentioning him, because the degree to which he got cancelled on Twitter has never been seen since. So, how about whenever you drink your water, you turn into a perfect profile, like an Egyptian wall painting. There's little hieroglyphs above Hambo's head that says like "Stay hydrated."
Yeah, do they have? They do. What am I saying, Wookie?
Well,
Did they have?
it's been a long day for Hambo.
In Egypt. Was there advertising? Could
I think there must have been.
Where are we? Yeah.
In ancient Egypt, there must have been advertising because, like, have you seen that that clay? I think it's a clay tablet that is like basically it's basically a review. Honestly, we should probably talk about that, like the origin of reviews. That thing where the guy got sold a bunch of copper by this merchant, and then he wrote out this whole thing saying he sold me subpar copper and he overcharged me for it and that sort of thing. It sort of became a famous bit on Tumblr at some point. So I feel like if you've got people who are like going to the extent of like writing complaints about people's work, you must have people, on the flip side, advertising their work, because if one of them works, surely the other one works.
Very true. Okay.
We should also
in 500 episodes though, we still haven't advertised Boy Review to get to 7 billion listeners. Yeah. So like that's how impressive we are.
What we did is we bought a satellite. Steve actually put a satellite in orbit for us, and it just plays the latest episode of Boy Review. Like
Boy Review.
It drops on YouTube and on most podcatcher apps actually. And then just gets just really loud so it reaches the surface just from low Earth orbit, just beamed down. Bum, 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 bum. Like the theme tune sort of causes tsunamis. But that's fine because we're all underwater anyway.
Well, Wookie, I guess the tsunami thing in a roundabout way also led into our, like, one of our other... the one I've been actually waiting to say is my favorite catchphrase from over the years.
Yeah. This is a roundup of our favorite running bits,
and it's gonna make no sense when I say it now. But you just wait till episode 360, and that was a killer episode, by the way. And it will make sense of why it relates to a tsunami. And it's like, well, and I'm now saying the quote, which is, well, when you're playing Cluedo.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah, because, when you're playing Cluedo.
Well, okay, look. When you're playing Cluedo, all bets are off when you're playing Cluedo. There's many different versions of the catchphrase.
Yeah, it's like, you might be thinking like, well, what, do you just input other board games? It's like, no, we don't just insert other board games. Duh.
Have you played Cluedo?
It's like you've got to. No, Cluedo is not just any board game. Cluedo is, people come up. People might throw this word around a lot, but Cluedo is a good board game, and I don't need to explain to why that is, because it's because when you're playing Cluedo, you know it to be true.
You'll get it when you play Cluedo.
But it's not just about literally playing Cluedo. It's the metaphor for life that Cluedo is.
Playing Cluedo is a state of mind.
And it's a state of being.
Playing Cluedo is a verb. But it's not just a verb.
Yes.
It's an adjective.
Exactly. You look at him there. He's playing Cluedo.
He's playing Cluedo. And you say, but what? He's got no Cluedo board in front of him. Like, no. That's not the point. In his mind, he's playing brain Cluedo.
Exactly. He's trying to work out who's killed Mr. Black, and he's got it solved.
Yeah,
he's on his way.
That's an actual murder.
He's on his way to the cellar now.
That's a detective, and he's just solved an actual murder by playing Cluedo. And that's the meaning of when you're playing Cluedo, because anything can happen when you're playing Cluedo.
Exactly.
Playing Cluedo is what you make of it. Hambo, when you say advertising, what does that mean? Do you mean that we haven't paid other people to mention our show?
So I said we haven't done any advertising at all. So we haven't paid anybody. In 500 episodes, we haven't told anybody to play our show.
Have we taken sponsors though?
Oh, Wilkie, have we taken sponsors? Who haven't we taken?
What does that mean?
Wilkie, we said at the beginning of the show we'd be open to advertising anything, and in 500 episodes, it came true.
We managed to advertise everything in existence before we managed to review everything in existence, because of all the strict rules we put in place about trying to sneak reviews into adverts. So we spent so much time advertising things that we couldn't then review because that it's too close. They didn't pay us to review it, they just paid us to promote it. So yeah, we actually hit our milestone sort of from the side in a way. So a lot of podcasters, the McElroys for example, will reference the fact that they really do use the products that they are advertising, right? They'll have what is it, like Quip, right? The Quip toothbrush, and they're like, I use the Quip toothbrush, I've been using it for years. Or like the fact that half of Justin McElroy's wardrobe comes from Stitch Fix. Like they've got sort of these more like fan favorite ones. And then there was the Extreme Restraints time when my brother and me were sponsored by a sex supply shop.
What?
Did you not know that?
No, I haven't listened to some of the older episodes.
Yeah, there was a period of Mabim Bam where they were sponsored by a company called Extreme Restraints, which was like a bondage and like BDSM shop.
Well, Wilkie, see, we take the exact opposite approach, though, don't we? We actively promise that we've never used any of the products that we
because it would be a conflict of interest if we had.
Exactly. So it becomes very difficult sometimes. When we advertised clothes, we did have to stop wearing clothes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, society progressed by that point. Walking around nude is cool now, I guess. That's something you got to look forward to in the next 500 episodes. But yeah, it was a problem.
It was a bit of a it took a bit of getting used to sort of have to cut so many things out of our lives. It was nice when you'd get like really specific sponsors, a specific clothing brand, because you could just like cut them out and move on. But when like how there's like the pork board, and you'll see like especially the pork board in America, who like make sure that people know how to cook pork well and like advocate for pork farmers and stuff. There was like the like clothing, the government department of clothing sponsored us, right?
Big clothing,
big clothes sponsored us, and we had to stop wearing clothes at all. So yeah, that was it was a bit of a culture shock, but society moved with us. Of course, here in episode 526, we are trendsetters because everyone on the planet listens to the show. Whatever we do sort of just goes. So when we stopped wearing clothes, everyone followed us, right? It was a no-brainer at that point.
Wilkie, I am okay. So sorry, I got completely distracted because like I think all of the things we've come up with, good.
Yeah,
I think of course they're good. Like we've created them. I just got distracted by because I still had left open the Bear Behaving Badly Wikipedia page.
Okay, yeah, sure.
There's an actress in that show.
I'm sure there are.
She's still doing kids TV. Her name is actually Beverly Hills.
What?
Her name is Beverly Hills. First name Beverly, surname Hills. And I can only assume she has a very famous chihuahua.
I was going to say she's a very famous police officer, a Beverly Hills cop.
She did Waking the Dead and Hard Tides, both of which are for some reason make me think of Die Hard and Walking Dead. And so it's just sort of like, I wonder if her agent just like made a mistake and it's just like, oh, I've got you on the biggest show at the moment, Waking the Dead, and just Beverly sort of like holds her head in her hands.
God. Okay, here's the thing, Hambo. 500 episodes, right? That's 10 years. This is all going to happen fairly like presuming we maybe miss a couple of weeks every year. 500 episodes is 10 years, no?
Yeah.
What and what a 10 years they've been, Hambo. God, who would have said Hambo?
For a bit you died, Wilkie. There were 2 years where I did the show on my own because you were dead.
So now I'm just a brain in a jar, like the what is it, Nixon? Yeah, Nixon on Futurama.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them actually, but yeah, Nixon's the main one.
I'm just floating, doing my podcast, and I'm having fun.
Yeah, well, Wilkie.
Yes, Hamish.
You're playing Cluedo.
Yeah. Well, aren't we always?
Wilkie, if everyone at home wants to be playing Cluedo too, do you know how they can do that?
I know many.
They can
ways.
do that by liking, sharing, and subscribing this podcast. On YouTube. If you're listening on podcast services, of which there are many to be doing that, just send it to your friends. Be like, yo, here's a thing. Maybe give it a 5-star review. I don't know. Podcast services work so differently. So just whatever you feel is appropriate, do that. If you want to contact us at the show, you can tweet just using hashtag boy review plus whatever hashtag you want to do. Why don't you tell us about your favorite boy review bits from the next 500 episodes? And we'll share some of our favorites on our personal Twitter accounts,
And they will, of course, come true.
They will, of course, come true at some point in the next 10 years.
They simply have to.
Yeah, that's everything. So until next time, it's going to be a goodbye from me.
And it's going to be a goodbye from me. Up, up, up and away! Hambo, I've got time sickness.